after expectation softens, after roles loosen, after the need to prove begins to fall away, another structure quietly comes into view. Control. Not responsibility, not care. Control as constant management. The subtle effort to steer life away from discomfort, to preempt uncertainty, to keep things from unraveling. Most of us don't think of ourselves as controlling. We associate control with domination, rigidity, force. But the control that dissolves at this stage is gentler than that. Sounds like, if I stay on top of this, nothing will go wrong. If I manage my reactions, I'll be okay. If I plan enough, I can avoid regret. Control lives in anticipation. It's the body bracing just ahead of the moment. I noticed this shift not when things went wrong, but when I realized how tired I was from holding things together. Not dramatically, quietly. I wasn't in crisis. Life was functioning. But there was a constant low-level effort to manage outcomes, emotions, timing, conversations, a background vigilance. And one day, that vigilance felt unnecessary. Not wrong, just unnecessary. Living without control doesn't happen because you decide to let go. It happens because you see clearly how little control you actually had, and how much energy was being spent maintaining the illusion. Control is often confused with safety. We believe that if we stay alert, if we manage variables, if we prepare for every scenario, we'll be protected. But control doesn't create safety. It creates tension. It keeps the nervous system on standby. And over time, that tension becomes normal. You don't notice it until it starts to loosen. Living without control doesn't mean you stop making decisions. You still choose. You still respond. But you're no longer trying to manage life from ahead of the moment. You meet what's here instead of trying to shape what's coming. This is subtle, because most control is internal. It's the way you rehearse conversations, the way you monitor reactions, the way you adjust yourself to keep things smooth. When control begins to fade, those habits lose urgency. You don't stop caring how things go. You stop trying to guarantee it. This can feel unsettling, because control has been your way of staying involved. Without it, you might wonder, am I disengaging? Am I being careless? Am I giving up? But you're not stepping back. You're stepping in a different way. Living without control feels like trust, but not trust in outcomes. Trust in responsiveness. You trust that when something needs attention, you'll notice. You trust that when something shifts, you'll adapt. You trust that you don't need to hold everything at once. This trust isn't a belief. It's experiential. It comes from seeing yourself respond over and over without having pre-planned it. Control often comes from fear of collapse. If I don't manage this, everything will fall apart. But when control loosens, you see that life continues even when you're not managing it. Sometimes it even flows better. This stage often brings a noticeable change in how your body feels. Less bracing, less jaw tension, less holding. You're not scanning for problems. You're present. And presence has its own intelligence. It notices things control misses. The difference between effort and strain. The moment to speak and the moment to wait. The subtle no before resentment forms. Control is heavy-handed. Presence is precise. Living without control also changes how you experience uncertainty. Before, uncertainty felt like a threat. Something to resolve quickly. Now, uncertainty feels neutral, not comfortable, neutral. You don't rush to close it. You let it remain open. And in that openness, new information arrives. Not because you forced it, because you weren't blocking it with preemptive decisions. This stage can feel slower, not externally, internally. You're not racing ahead of experience. You're letting experience arrive. That doesn't make you passive. It makes you accurate. Living without control often improves relationships, because control is often disguised as care. I just want to help. I just want to make sure this goes well. I just want to prevent pain. But that kind of care can feel constricting. When control fades, you allow others to have their experience. You don't rush to manage emotions, yours or theirs. You listen more. Not because you're trying to be present, because you're not busy steering. This doesn't mean you tolerate harm. Boundaries still exist, but boundaries are clearer when they're not tangled with control. You say no without justifying it. You step back without guilt. You step forward without obligation. Control often kept you stuck between overfunctioning and resentment. Without it, movement becomes cleaner. This stage also changes how you relate to mistakes. Before, mistakes meant failure of control. I should have seen this coming. I should have planned better. Now, mistakes become information, not evidence. You adjust, you learn, you move on. There's no identity collapse. Control often turned mistakes into personal verdicts. Without it, they're just part of movement. This brings a surprising lightness, not because life becomes easy, but because you're not carrying the additional weight of management. You're not trying to be ahead of life. You're walking with it. Living without control also reshapes ambition. Ambition doesn't disappear. It becomes quieter, less compulsive. You're no longer pushing toward outcomes to feel secure. You're engaging where energy is alive. You allow things to develop instead of forcing them into shape. This doesn't mean you don't care about results. It means results aren't the sole regulator of your nervous system. You can work hard without gripping. You can rest without anxiety. You're not trying to hold the future steady. You're responding to the present honestly. This stage can feel like humility, not because you feel small, but because you stop trying to stand above life. You stop managing it like a project. You let it be what it is and meet it directly. That directness is powerful, because control often kept you one step removed. Always anticipating, always adjusting. Presence removes that distance. You're not managing experience. You're inside it. Living without control doesn't mean you won't feel fear again. Fear still arises, but you don't immediately try to fix it. You feel it. You let it inform you, and often it passes without needing intervention. Control used to jump in early. Without it, emotion completes its cycle. This is deeply regulating for the body. You're not constantly interrupting yourself. You're allowing experience to move. Season 2 is about living without the invisible structures that once organized your life. Reference, direction, proof, roles, expectation, control. Each of these was a strategy, not a mistake. A strategy for navigating uncertainty. Now, uncertainty is no longer the enemy. It's part of being alive. And you don't need to manage being alive. You need to be present for it. Living without control doesn't make life predictable. It makes you adaptable. And adaptability is far more powerful than control ever was. You're no longer trying to keep everything together. You're letting life show you how it wants to move. And you move with it. If you've noticed yourself less reactive lately, not because things are perfect, but because you're not gripping them. If you've felt more ease even when outcomes are unclear. If effort feels cleaner and less anxious. You're not losing responsibility. You're releasing control. And that release isn't reckless. It's intelligent. It's what happens when presence takes over the work control was trying to do. You don't need to hold everything. You need to be here. That's enough. And if this reflection met something real in you, liking the video helps it reach others who may be learning how to live without constantly managing life. If someone came to mind while listening, sharing it may help them feel less alone in that quiet shift. You're welcome to subscribe if you'd like to continue through this season. Not to gain control, but to live with less of it, unfinished.